Okay, updated video for the no tax on overtime. My last one I used double time for one of my figures just to simplify the math, but double time doesn't count. It's only time and a half pay that counts because that is what is mandated by the Fair Labor Standards Act. Okay, so let's say you make $30 an hour, so your overtime rate is $45, and let's say you work 10 hours of overtime every week for 52 weeks. That's 520 hours of overtime. You made $23,400 in overtime pay, but you don't get the deduction for that. You only get the deduction for the difference in your regular pay and overtime pay. So that difference is $15 times 520 hours. That means your overtime deduction is $7,800. So let's go to our next example. Let's say you make $50 an hour, so time and a half would be $75 an hour. You work the same overtime, 520 hours for the year. That means you earn $39,000 in overtime pay, but only the difference, the $25 times 520 hours, that means your overtime deduction would be $13,000. Okay, so here are the limits. If you're a single filer, you can only deduct up to $12,500 in overtime pay. And if you're married filing jointly, you get a deduction totaling $25,000. So for this example, since it's less than both of these numbers, you would be able to take the full $7,800. But let's look at this example for $13,000. If you're a single filer, you would still only get to deduct the max of $12,500. But if you're a joint filer, you would be able to deduct the full $13,000. So hopefully that explains how much of your overtime pay you get to deduct. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about, so how much money is that going to save you? And how do you deduct it? So if you haven't yet, make sure you follow your tax friend Jen, and I'll post that video shortly.
Wow, what a saint, breaking it down like that. Yeah, he really had a lot of people fooled thinking it was going to be a lot better than that. That is basically scraps. Beyond that, though, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, stay updated on some stuff as we keep everyone updated weekly. But yeah, let's check out the next clip. Let's dig into this a little bit more. This is pretty intense.
Donald Trump just said today that he wants anybody making $200,000 a year or less not to have to pay any federal taxes. He says that the money coming in from the tariffs he put on other countries is going to offset it, so there won't be any need for us to pay taxes anymore. I know what y'all are thinking. Oh, well, he said there was going to be no tax on overtime. And that is 100% true. He did say that. And there still is no tax on overtime for anybody making less than $150,000 a year. Up to a certain amount, it's a tax credit at the end of the year when you file your taxes. Still a better deal than what we had before. But could you imagine getting your check and there's no federal taxes taken out, period? That will change lives in the United States. That will change America. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, he's just blowing smoke. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But it's a good thought. It's a good thing if it does go through. It's not going to hurt for him to even try to get that to happen. I've always thought that Trump was for the people. If this happens, it will change America. So we can wish for the best, hope it happens, and look forward to it when it does. Donald Trump.
Yeah, wishful thinking. I mean, it definitely would help a lot, but that would be a major change. So we'll have to see.
So did we get duped on this no tax on overtime? And don't mind the cat, this is just a distraction, almost like 90% of the stuff the government does. But besides that, what is this? All we get is a small smidgen of a credit at the end of the year, and you get just a tiny bit of that money back. How hard is it just to not tax us on overtime? If you work 20 hours extra a week, that is 20 hours extra you did not have to work, and they should have no involvement of getting any of that money. It's awesome that they pass the no taxes on tips. If you make tips, you worked hard for that. They should not tax a penny of that money. But you tax us in every other aspect of life. So what's so hard about just not taxing the overtime? If you buy something, you get taxed. When you make money, you get taxed. When you sell something, you get taxed. When you get a gift, you get taxed. You can literally buy a car, sell it to your best buddy 20 different times, and there's a ad valorem tax on that every single time. But in the end, big government is always bad, always will be bad, and it is two wings of the exact same bird.
Yeah, taxes are an absolute killer, man. I mean, you get taxed on the taxes that you get taxed on with the taxes from it's bad. If you're working overtime, if you're working hard jobs, even simpler jobs, if you're working overtime of any sort, you should definitely be able to keep all that. I mean, it's hard earned. You don't need to do it. It's tough out there. I hope something changes.
Let's talk about this big, beautiful bill that has just passed the House. It just passed the Senate. Actually, it was a tie in the Senate, and J.D. Vance was the final vote which approved it. Now, Donald Trump signed it into law on July the 4th, on 4th of July. So let's talk about what this is. This is the bill that every Republican has been waiting on. The no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. But here's what's really going on with the bill. If you're filing to try, it's not like you get your check and they don't take those taxes out. They keep the taxes flowing the whole time you're working. Then on your income tax at the end of the year, you can file for that money back. But they have put a cap on it. So it's not like you get all that money back that you were charged on your overtime and your tips. On tips, you can only file for a max of $25,000 back at the end of the year. And on no overtime, they have put a cap of $12,500 on how much you can file back on your taxes. So if you work a shitload of overtime and you're paying $30,000, $40,000 a year in overtime taxes, you're not going to see that back. You can only claim $12,500. Now, if you file jointly with somebody like your wife or your husband, they can also file the $12,500 on overtime for, once again, a max of $25,000. You cannot do this after 2028. This bill is only good while Donald Trump is in office. It goes out of effect right before he has to leave office. Don't get used to this. This is only a 3-year plan, and they put caps on everything. So it turns out it's not quite as good as we hoped it would be, but at least it's something. I hope this information helps, guys.
Yep, I guess it is definitely better than it was when there was nothing before this, but definitely had quite a lot of people fooled. It's unfortunate there's caps.
Boy, I knew this day was coming. I need y'all to lock in with me real quick. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a firefighter. I'm a firefighter by trade. And if you know anything about firefighters in the South, let's just say I'm a blue dot in the real big Red Sea. So, we sitting at the dinner table the other night, right? And it came, that moment I knew was coming. One of the guys at the table was talking about how his overtime was taxed. And I was like, yeah, your overtime, they took the taxes out, huh? He's like, well, what's going on? I thought we weren't supposed to have no tax on overtime. That's what they told us. And I was like, you gotta rewind a little bit now. We had a whole conversation about this beforehand, and he swore up and down he read the bill. I knew he didn't read it, but he swore up and down he read it. And so I calmly, say, hey man, I thought you said you read the bill. He said, well, I did. Well, I kind of skimmed it. I said, all right, well, since you skimmed it, I'm gonna tell you what it says. All right, your taxes are still coming out of your overtime, sir. You will be eligible for a deduction of up to $12,500 at the end of the year when you file your taxes. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, man, you're still going to be taxed for your overtime. And then I know how much overtime he works. So he doesn't even realize that he's going to make more money and his income's going to be so high that that deduction is not even going to be worth it. And he's still going to be paying higher taxes in the end. And after I broke this down to him, he's just, I knew it. I knew it was coming. Hey man, you don't know what you're talking about. Hey man, that's not what it says. Hey man, that's not what he's talking about. He said no taxes on overtime. And now look at you. Just dumb.
Yeah, some people don't read. One of the comments of this video says they failed the biggest open book test in history. Like, another one says, say what you will about the red side, but they know their audience. They know their audience is not going to read. That's crazy. But hey, again, if you're skimming things and not reading through bills, I understand sometimes they're hundreds of pages, but you really gotta start reading and knowing what you're voting for. So it's tough times out there. And again, at least it's something, but it's not a whole lot of something. Anyways, though, hope you enjoyed. And if you did and want more videos like this, feel free to like the video and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.